Welcome back to the Alien Spaceship Talkshow podcast. And in case you're just joining us, you're listening to the Alien Spaceship Talkshow podcast with Emmy Hikins and Trevor Gear.
Yeah, so I was a singer-songwriter for years, doing bands as hard as I could, and I would travel out to New York and do singer-songwriter showcases. But at some point in time, you start to age out of that, and you're like, well, what am I going to do for a living here? And I had always been teaching lessons while, chasing the singer-songwriter career. And so once I made a decision to just expand that and kind of, after doing it for so long, you kind of learn how to do it. And so one of my secret weapons was when I was a little kid, I'd race home after school and drop the needle down and figure out how did the Beatles and the Stones, what's everything they did to make these songs work? There's drums and there's bass and there's guitars and there's vocals and there's all sorts of stuff going on and how did it work? And so I was starting to write songs at a very, very young age and sucking at it. But you really learn through doing it. And so I would then say, hey, how can I take all those skills and teach kids not really how to start a band, but how to start a band, if that makes sense, and get rocking and write bad songs at first until your craft gets better. And so, like I had said earlier, it's a little bit weird when you maybe come in for drum lessons and all of a sudden the teacher's hanging out behind the guitar. You're like, aren't you supposed to be teaching me how to play the drums? I'm like, I am. Because you have to learn to make some decisions that's going to fit this groove. And we'll know if it doesn't work and we'll hear it. And so it's a little bit like, I think it's a little bit like the American sport baseball. A baseball player can make the Hall of Fame if they bat 300, which means 3 out of 10 times they get on base. But what that means is 7 out of 10 times they fail. And so in our songwriting world, if we were to fail 7 out of 10 times, but still get 3 great songs out of it, that'd be huge. We'd be over the top. And so I just take that mentality into these lessons and say, let's do a jam session and let's write a whole bunch of bad songs. And kids are like, wait, what? Like, yeah, let's write bad songs on purpose. Because out of that, we're going to learn how to write good songs.
It's like that saying, out of failure comes success. It holds true.
That's right.
Yeah, it does hold true, doesn't it? Yeah. So, what about yourself when did you get into music?
Very young. I was probably 5th or 6th grade here. Really young kid. I was walking through the house one day and I saw what I found out was a guitar because I said, "Hey, what's that?" And my mom said, "Well, that's a guitar. Let me show you a couple of chords." And I wasn't much big enough to just get my arm around the darn thing. And my life's never been the same since. I've just been chasing it the whole time because I instantly recognized, whoa, that's what those bands are doing. This is so cool. And so I would just drop the needle down and just try to figure it out. And never really had the ability I'm going to, first of all, there is no great notation for how did the Beatles do it. It's better to listen to it and figure it out because there's all sorts of quirky, weird things that you just can't document on the page. So the idea of reading music, especially when we think about Paul McCartney, I mean, he doesn't read music, he writes music, And so the idea of that, so everything I did was just drop the needle down and just listen and try to hit a note and nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. And be wrong more times than right. But eventually you find it and you're like, whoa, I figured out what they did.
Oh, yeah. Trevor, I call him bro. He's got his own kind of production, But what amazes me and what intrigues me at the same time is that, there's a generation that can make music from the very hard way. They do it the hard way. So they've got all these, keyboard and all these recording gears. And I mean, I'm like the new generation. So I go on Logic Pro and I put guitar, I put this and that, and I put it together, and it sounds great. I feel, oh yeah, that sounds great. I'll throw some vocals on that. But I really admire people that can do it from scratch. Like I said, my brother Trevor, that's what he does. He has this I don't even know because I've never touched them. I've only seen them in the studios. I have great admiration for people like you that can that are not the computer generation that that are because you play the instrument. I can't play any instrument. I don't know how. If you give me a guitar, I wouldn't know what to do with it.
Well, I'll tell you what. The best time for you to start would have been 10 years ago, but the second best time is today.
Right.
So start.
Never too late. Yeah, it's never too late.
Never too late. Yeah. So how do you feel working on the old way, not the old way, but the classic way of doing things versus the new way of doing things, which is i.e. Logic Pro, because you've got everything there. So you've got the guitar, you've got what they call samples and loops, and you can just. So how do you feel about that?
We're going to take a short break now. We're back shortly. You've been listening to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show with Trevor Gear and Emmy Hikins. The Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast is looking for sponsors. If you're a company out there looking to spread the word about the products and services you provide, please get in touch with Deepstuff Radio Podcast on info@deepstuffrecords.com, or to use the contact form on our website to contact us, please visit radio.deepstuffrecords.com. Also, if you're looking to get involved on the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast, reach out via our Deepstuff Radio Facebook page. Thank you.